Your startup is already obsolete. Look, I know that sounds harsh, but for 99% of you, it's the truth. You're chasing a technology, AI, blockchain, whatever the next big thing is, that pretty much guarantees your business will be irrelevant in 18 months. You're building on a foundation of sand, and the tide is coming in way faster than you think. So let's break down why focusing on timeless human problems is the only real secret to building a company that actually lasts. Section 1. The Great Founder Delusion. There's this delusion that has completely infected the startup world. It's a mass hypnosis that has brilliant, ambitious people convinced that the goal is to build something new, to be on the cutting edge, to have the slickest algorithm, the fastest model, or the most decentralized protocol. But that's a lie. The brutal reality is that most founders today aren't building businesses. They're technologists playing dress-up. They fall in love with a how, the shiny new tool, before they even have a clue about the what or the who. We call this shiny object syndrome, and it's the single biggest predictor of failure. You can see it everywhere right now, a tidal wave of startups that are just thin wrappers around the latest AI model. They all use the same handful of APIs, they all have the same basic features, and they are all completely defenseless. This isn't new. We saw this exact same movie with the dawn of the internet, with mobile apps and with blockchain. Remember the graveyard of Uber for X companies? Uber for laundry, Uber for cookies, Uber for dog walkers. They weren't building businesses. They were just slapping a single tech solution onto every problem they could find, whether it fit or not. The history of tech is a boneyard of trends that promised the world but delivered nothing, all because they weren't tied to a real painful human need. The result is a landscape of temporary companies, no moat, no loyalty, and no long-term value. They're all caught in this exhausting race to have the newest feature or the latest integration. But it's a race they can never win because the tech itself is moving faster than any one company can. While you're busy building, someone else is already using a newer, better, cheaper tool that will make your product irrelevant overnight. It's why a staggering 34% of failed startups die for the exact same reason. There's no market need for what they built. They invent a clever solution to a problem nobody actually has. Hey there, my name is Scott Lindsay, and I've spent my entire career helping organizations understand risk, strengthen operations, and grow with confidence. I've served as a chief risk officer, chief compliance officer, director of internal audit, and even CFO of a publicly traded bank. I've worked with global financial institutions, led enterprise-wide risk programs, and guided executive teams and boards through some of the most complex operational and regulatory challenges you can imagine. And I'm not just a corporate guy, I've been an entrepreneur too. I founded and grew an internet solutions company that served more than 85 financial institutions, hundreds of thousands of customers, and government agencies across multiple jurisdictions. So trust me, I know the highs and the headaches of starting a business from scratch. Here's the truth, you don't need luck, you need knowledge. Section 2, the timeless shift, from tools to problems. If you want to escape this cycle of death, you have to make a fundamental shift in your thinking. You have to stop asking, what cool thing can I build with this new tech? And start asking, what timeless human problem can I solve? The secret to a company that lasts for decades isn't in your code, it's in the human condition. Longevity isn't the goal, it's the byproduct of tackling a huge, meaningful problem. The most resilient companies aren't tech companies. They are problem-solving companies that just happen to use technology to get the job done. Think about Netflix. They didn't win by inventing streaming. That tech existed long before they were the king. Netflix won because they solved a timeless problem. I'm bored, I'm at home, and I want to be entertained right now. First, they solved it with DVDs in the mail, which was way better than driving to Blockbuster. Then, when streaming became viable, they used it to solve that same exact problem even more effectively. The problem never changed, just the tool they used to solve it. Or look at Kodak. George Eastman didn't set out to build a chemical film empire. He saw a problem. Taking a picture was expensive, clunky, and way too complicated for normal people. He solved the timeless human need to capture memories and connect with each other. The Brownie camera and the film? That was just the vehicle. Kodak only became obsolete when the company forgot the problem it was solving and fell in love with the technology it was selling. They became a chemical company instead of a memory company. This is the shift. You have to become obsessed with a problem, not a platform. The problem is your anchor. It's what gives you direction. The technology is just a tool, and tools are always replaceable. Section 3. The 3 pillars of a decade-proof company. So, how do you actually build this way? It really comes down to 3 core pillars that separate the flash-in-the-pan startups from the businesses built to last. Pillar 1. Obsess over the problem, not the platform. Great companies are defined by the problems they solve. Period. Your number 1 job as a founder is to become the world's leading expert on a specific problem. That means getting out of the office, stepping away from the code, and actually talking to people. And you don't ask them what features they want. You dig into their lives. You listen for their frustrations, their anxieties, their dumb, inefficient workflows, and their unspoken needs. When you fall in love with a platform, you get technology lock-in. Your entire identity is tied to a tool. If you're a blockchain company, what happens when a better solution comes along that isn't blockchain? If you're an AI company, what happens when the AI models you use become a free utility for everyone? You die. It's that simple. But when you fall in love with the problem, you have infinite flexibility. You're free to use the best tool for the job today and swap it out for a better one tomorrow. Your business is built on your deep, intimate understanding of the customer, and that's an asset that can't be copied. Pillar 2. Build relationships, not just transactions. A business built on trendy tech is almost always transactional. It competes on features and price. The second someone comes along with a slightly better feature or a lower price, your customers are gone. Why? Because there was never a relationship. There was no loyalty. A lasting business competes on trust. It builds a community. It focuses on relationships, not just revenue. Jeff Bezos famously said, Amazon is customer obsessed, not competitor obsessed. That's a huge distinction. When you're obsessed with your competitors, you're always looking over your shoulder, just reacting. But when you're obsessed with your customers, you're looking forward, guided by the people you serve. You build a kind of loyalty that can outlast any market shift. A code base can be copied in a week. A feature can be cloned in a month. But the trust you build with a community over years, that's a fortress. Pillar 3. Construct a brand, not just a product. A product does something. A brand stands for something. This is the final and maybe the most important pillar. Your product is just the thing you happen to sell today. Your brand is the emotional connection you have with your customers. It's the promise. It's the trust. It's the real reason they choose you, even when there are cheaper or fancier alternatives out there. It's what sticks around when the technology changes. Think of Apple. Apple has navigated massive tech shifts, from desktops to MP3 players to phones to watches. They survived because their brand was never about a specific gadget. Apple's brand stands for simplicity, elegant design, and creative empowerment. The tech is just how they express that brand promise at any given moment. Building a brand forces you to answer the big question, why do we exist other than to make money? That's your mission. Google's mission is to organize the world's information. That's a problem so massive it will probably never be finished, which gives them a timeless reason to exist. A product is vulnerable. A brand is resilient. A product becomes obsolete. A brand, if you nurture it, can last a century. The conclusion. Putting this into practice starts with one simple mindset shift. Focus on the timeless, not the trendy. So if you're tired of chasing shiny objects and want to build a business that actually means something, subscribe for more strategies on building a company that's truly built for the future. The way forward isn't about trying to predict the future. Nobody can do that. It's about building a company that is so deeply rooted in a real human need that it becomes adaptable to any future. Solve a problem. The average lifespan of a major company has been tanking for decades, dropping from over 60 years in the 1950s to around 15 to 20 years today. That's because most companies are fragile, built for a specific moment in time. To survive, you have to build for adaptability. The technology of tomorrow is a mystery, but the problems of humanity, the need for connection, for purpose, For convenience, for status, those are timeless. Build for that, and you won't just build a startup, you'll build a legacy. See you in the next one.